should be live.
Yep.
Hello, hello. You might notice there's only Roger and I tonight, and that's because Rick has decided to be a taxi service tonight. Anyway, Roger, you got anything to say?
Yeah, welcome. If you got any questions, fire them off. I'll be happy to talk about it. And I'll start off with a little bit of conversation because I always talk about how I don't do craft shows. Well, I'm going to do one this weekend. And the feature part of it is I'm the only vendor. So
what kind of craft show only has one vendor?
We're setting up at a local fraternal organization, and I'm selling some of my stuff too, but we're selling a lot of their merchandise to support that fraternal organization.
Yeah.
And then
so
that supports a
worthy cause.
Yeah, and then it supports children and children in need, and it's a charitable thing. But I'll make a few bucks off of it, and I'll probably whatever I make in profit, I'll probably donate. Which you makers out there, you should do stuff like this once in a while. Cover your costs. Don't go in the hole on it, but make a donation.
Yeah, I'm still working on a trophy for a group. I won't make a ton of money on it. I mean, I'll basically break even, but it was a worthy cause. But it's been sitting half done on my workbench for, I don't know, a month and a half probably, and I've been everything. Every day is a forest fire right now for me, and I gotta get up and figure out how I'm gonna put it out. Who do we got on here? We got Chris. Hello, Chris.
Down under. Let's see, it's spring. It's turning into spring down there now, isn't it? Because it's fall here.
Yeah, it should be. Not that I think spring makes a whole lot of difference. I mean, I guess it's not 50 degrees Celsius. It's probably only 30 degrees Celsius.
Portland, Oregon.
Ordinary Woodworkers back. G'day. He's saying g'day to Ordinary Woodworker. Everybody's saying hello to each other.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. David's back.
South Milwaukee.
Who else we got here? Hey, we got a special guest. Look, Nancy's here, and she's early.
Good evening. Yeah.
Hello, Nancy. And it is hump day for sure.
So does she have everything ironed out with her lasers and everything now?
Oh, I missed Jim. I don't know. Nancy, you got all your lasers running now? Oh, no, she was still looking for somebody to calibrate her UV laser last week or something. Or 2 weeks ago. Hey, Jim. Rado's here. Robert. Is Robert new? I don't recognize this name.
I don't recognize that one either. So welcome if you're new here.
Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, and make sure you join our Shop Talk Live Facebook group.
Kevin's here. That's another new name. Tell us where you're from. We don't need an address or anything. We're not going to go to your house, but
there's our Bosnian trucker. Howdy, howdy.
Where is Bosnian trucker today? Last week he was in Tennessee or something.
Yeah, spring is sprung down under.
Yeah, Chris, is there really a difference between summer and spring? Because it's just hot in Australia all the time, isn't it? Boomer.
Oh, hello from Pennsylvania.
Boomer seems to be another new name. Tim saying hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Did you get your glass engraving done today, Tim? Tim, and you and Roger, or you and Jim Hamilton should have a conversation because you're both doing the same thing with an Omni 1. Oops. All right. We got to get past all the people saying hello to each other. Oh, here. Kevin's from East Tennessee. Oh, he might have been here last week. Feel free to ask questions.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there we go.
I'll hit this one. Ordinary Woodworker is asking, what do you think about the Bamboo Labs new P2S being announced with their improved touchscreen and some of their other features? I am actually looking at thinking about buying one.
It uses a lot of the same parts as the H2D, right?
Yeah, and
Same
it was
extruder.
based off the P1S. The P1S is fine. I have one sitting back here in the corner, but I put a aftermarket screen on it because the screen on it just sucked. I mean, the GUI on it was awful. But I think what they're doing now with the new P2S is they're kind of combining the features of the X1C and the H2S and H2D and putting them on one of their lower cost models. I mean, I can get one with a new one with the AMS, I think, for $799 the last I looked, which is pretty good price.
What's the bed size on that?
It's the same as the P1S and the X1C. It's not as big as the H2D.
So it's like 250 by 250 or something.
Yeah, but I've never had a problem needing. If I need something bigger, I've got my Cobra Max I can print on.
Yeah, the H2D is like realistically like 315 by 315 or 315 by 320, and I use it all the time. Now I wish I had a 400 by 400. I guess that's the H2A or something, or H2B for big. Wesley from North Carolina wishing us all well. There we go. Yeah, Robert's been here before.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
He must have just been lurking.
Oh, he's in Columbus, Ohio tonight.
He's in Columbus this week. Man, do you ever get to go home?
Where is home?
Didn't he say he lived in Indiana? Or, no, not Indiana. What's the one beside you?
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yep. Oh yeah, so Chris is saying massive difference. Top temperatures vary by about 5 degrees.
Yeah, so nothing.
Yeah.
Although if you're used to like 40 Celsius and it gets down to 35, you might want to put on a sweater, right?
Hey, Santa's laser engraving. Ho ho ho. Hello.
There we go. Tim says to Jim, you're trying to do subsurface engraving into awards. Well, no, he's actually doing martini glasses, but not subsurface, just on the surface. Oh yes. How do you like the subsurface stuff, Tim? I think it's kind of cool. It'd be easier, definitely, with an Omni X than an Omni 1. But geez, I can't keep up here all of a sudden. Elephant in the room. What did you guys do to Ricky? Ricky is an Uber driver tonight. He has to do something for a friend of his. So
yeah, or he's delivering pizzas, one of the two.
Yeah, he has to taxi some people around.
Ordinary Woodworker says likes his P1S. Never had any issues. I haven't either, other than I hate the GUI on it. But considering getting a P2S, and yeah. What I do with my P1S, of course, I did put the aftermarket screen on for Big Tree Tech, but I pretty much run it across our land, and so I don't have to deal with the screen on it. So it's done all right from the slicer.
Yeah, that's how I run mine anyway. And the user interface on the H2D actually isn't too bad.
And I've done that with the exception of one printer I still have, that where you got to mess with an SD card. Everything I do now is over the LAN. The Anycubics and the all the Bamboo printers, it's all done over the LAN. Don't have to mess with the micro SD cards anymore and screwing with that.
Yeah, I'm getting used to micro SD again. Well, USB memory with this fiber seeker. it's coming out of the industrial world, right? So there's like it's basically designed. You plug a design into it and just print it over and over and over again. So I think they need to do some. It does have Wi-Fi, but I think they don't. Their slicer doesn't support it. So hopefully they're coming out with a new slicer. So hopefully they support direct Wi-Fi. Jim says slowly but very slowly, he's getting his Omni One to do what he wants. Beat it into submission, man. Failure rate has gone from 10% down to less than 5%. Hey, awesome. And as of this writing, who should I talk to? Tim Sands is here. He's working on glass with an Omni One as well. Different, slightly different than what you're doing. It's not glasses, but it is glass. You guys can talk settings. Jack in the shop is back, saying hello. Ordinary woodworker. Chris says ordinary woodworker. I think Rick is in a hypnotic trance from all the new effects he's been trying. Has he been trying new things?
Well, he's got that CNC. That's his big new thing. So.
Yeah, I haven't had time to even look at YouTube this week. There, see, I was right. Waterloo, Iowa.
Yeah, okay. Not too far from me.
For Bosnian trucker.
Well, an hour and 45 minutes.
He's home every Friday. Only gone 4.5 days of every 7. Man, that's a tough life.
I will say, back when I was working, the contractor I worked for, we did and I can say this now because I don't work for him anymore. We did a tremendous amount of work for John Deere, and I was their power quality engineer. But not working for John Deere directly, I worked for a contractor. And Waterloo is home to several John Deere plants. And the people at the Holiday Inn Express up there, I was on a first name basis with everybody that worked there. So I was up there so much.
Did you have coffee with the CEO?
I actually have before.
Oh, yeah. ATB Marketing says hello. How's everyone doing? ATB Marketing asks.
Well, I'm doing pretty good tonight.
I have nothing.
I turn around. It's Modelo.
I was telling Roger before he went live, I spent most of my day yesterday plumbing due to some poor design from the previous owner of my house. But no more leaks in my house, which is a good thing. There's a question for you, Roger.
Can I explain the difference between a bed slinger and whatever the alternative is? And when would you want one versus the other? A bed slinger is where the bed moves, and then of course, you're still extruding. You still have an X and Y motion, and a Z motion as well, X, Y, and Z motion. But the bed moves. On a Core XY, the bed does not move. It's all done from the extruder, which is much, much faster. Core XY, like I said, it's way faster. I do have a couple bed slingers. Bamboo A1s are great bed slinger printers. But I'm mostly going to the Core XY because of speed, and I can get products off of them quicker. And if I'm running a prototype on something, I could take one like one of the X1Cs and run it into what they call stupendous mode or ludicrous mode. That's what it is. It prints it super, super fast. Looks like hell. But then I can tell if it's going to work out for what I want to use it for, and then I can print it in a more uniform manner. But the Core XY printers are much faster than bed slingers.
Yeah. The reason they're faster, by the way, is the bed is pretty heavy compared to just the extruder.
Yeah.
So they can pull it a little faster on a Core XY.
Well, Jack in the shop saying you never want a bed slinger. I would not go back to the old style where you had to manually level and everything. Like I said, the Bamboo A1s, I'm perfectly happy with them. I mean, I think they're great.
Yeah.
Any Cubic Max, it's a bed slinger, but it's huge. It's fine because it does its auto leveling once you do the initial setup.
there's two things I appreciate most about the bamboo H2D. You never have to think about. Remember back in the early days of 3D printers, you had to cut the filament at an
Oh yeah, cut it
angle
in
so
an
that it
angle,
actually
and
got in there, and you had to load it by hand. This thing, it's like you don't have to worry about filament. You don't have to load it or unload it, and you don't have to level the bed ever.
yeah,
There's
it's
not
just
even
all
knobs to level the bed on it. So
no, it's just all automatic, and all of my Core XYs are like that.
yeah.
I've got, of course, the Anycubics, their filament feed thing's called the Ace, but which is like an AMS that Bamboo has. But they're, you just take the end of the filament off the spool and just poke it in the thing, and it auto loads, and you don't have to worry about trying to cut the thing out like he was saying at an angle, and then trying to get it in past the extruder, and then getting it into the tube and make sure it doesn't bend and get out of line. And yeah,
Yeah,
I used to hate that.
it's just a pain. I'm actually thinking of getting another bamboo printer, probably an H2S, though. I don't need two H2Ds.
Yeah, Core
Yep.
XY printers are faster, more precise, and yes, they are.
Yeah.
And the main thing is because the bed only moves in the X or the Z axis only moves in the Z axis, and the extruder moves in the X and Y.
So Tim says his subsurface engraving came out really nice once he got the defocus figured out. Yeah, Tim, you worried me a bit with this defocus when you said it, because really you're actually dropping the focus to get it inside the glass. Well, it depends if you're focusing from the workspace or from the top surface of the glass, I guess. But because I spent at least two email messages the other day telling Jim not to defocus, and now you're going to confuse him. He follows a YouTuber. He started watching for CNC. He did an Omni One glass tutorial. This is probably the same one Jim watched, which is what's his name? Dean Woodworking. James Dean. I don't know.
Oh, James Dean, he does a lot of stuff with CNC.
Yeah, and he did a glass tutorial. Yeah, he's a decent guy.
Jordan saying hello from Nebraska, the land
Hello.
of course, I always call it the land of nothing because that is one of the worst states to drive through. When you got to go from east to west, it's like it just takes forever and there's nothing there.
Now, how do you know? He might love Nebraska.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
well,
which one of those states is big sky country? Oklahoma, I guess, right?
Big Sky Country is Montana.
Oh, Montana, yes.
Yeah, Oklahoma is Tornado Alley.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jack in the shop.
Anytime I've been through there, it's all big sky country because there's not a hill anywhere.
So Jack in the shop. Unfortunately, I have 5 bed slinger 3D printers. Plan to replace them eventually with Core XYs. Yeah, if you have the old style bed slinger where you have to constantly level the bed, I'd be doing an upgrade pretty quick too. I've gotten rid of all of those, with the exception of one, and it's going to go pretty quick. I'm going to be giving that one to my granddaughter. So.
Yeah, height mapping was a great add to 3D printers. Automatic leveling. Jack says he's still got 2 of them. Don't use them much anymore. Yeah, because they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the old ones that I still up in my loft up there. I think back in the closet, I've got a couple of old Ender 3V2s that I'm going to probably be giving away too.
I have a Prusa bed slinger and one that I built myself, which is very much like a Prusa. And they're both sitting up in my loft doing nothing but collecting dust.
Yep.
Herb's back saying hi. Hi, Herb. I thought everyone liked the A1. Isn't that a bed slinger?
Yeah. Yes, it is. But it is accurate and it just works.
And it has auto bed leveling, right?
Yeah, auto bed leveling, and I've got the AMS on both of mine. And they're great. Well, I don't know if they call it an AMS exactly, but it's a 4-spool feed.
Yeah.
It's not like the AMS on the X1C or the P1S.
Yeah, so Jack says he's never had a Delta printer. Delta is another one that's different.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. Basically, the extruder's hanging out on the end of a 3 legs, and you move individual one or more legs up and down to steer the extruder around.
Yeah,
I had an
I've
FL
never had
Fun.
one.
These things scream, like they're really fast because they're moving almost no weight, right? But they take a lot of room. That's the thing, a lot of height, because they're basically twice as tall as the maximum height of your work area. But they're very fast, and they actually print pretty well too.
Yeah, there's 4 John Deere plants in Waterloo. There's drivetrain operations. There's a foundry. There's well, we call it the secret weapons lab, but there's a research lab up there for it where they buy other brands and then bring them in and tear them apart and look at them. And every company does that to see what the competition's doing. And then there's also a museum up there, which is really cool. If you ever get into Waterloo and you want to go to a tractor museum, the John Deere Museum of Waterloo is really neat.
I couldn't imagine going anywhere to go to a tractor museum, but I guess different strokes for different folks.
Well, we've got one right here too in the Quad Cities. It's in Moline, Illinois, which is John Deere's corporate headquarters. And there's a big what they call the John Deere Pavilion, and also at John Deere Corporate. If you go to the corporate office, there's a large area where they show all the history of everything with John Deere, and you can look at a whole bunch of different tractors and machines and things that John Deere makes.
Yeah, well, if I want to see a tractor, I'll just go look at the one in my garage. It's orange though, not green.
So their ordinary worker says they also manual bed level is such a pain in the ass to get the bed level. Yeah, the old bed slingers are, yeah. And the worst thing is if you pick one up and you move it from one table to the other, for some reason the bed level changes and you have to go through the whole thing again.
Yeah, the thing is the automatic bed leveling will not only find out how level the bed is, it'll also find any variations in it, right? Because I mean, I had an old Creality printer, CR10, and you could get the corners level, but in the middle there were humps and bumps like crazy, right?
Yeah,
so,
I had a V5 like Ender V5 like that, where the center of the bed was high.
So that's where the height map comes in handy. And on a Delta, the bed does not move at all. It doesn't, and it's round, which is also a bit of a issue for some people. Nancy says, where are all the thumbs up? Hit the like button to support our favorite channels.
Yeah, well, we all appreciate that.
Hopefully we are your favorite channels. Yeah, there we go. James Dean. That's the one. And that's the one Jim mentioned to me the other day too, that he'd watched.
I like his accent. Yeah, we should shout out to Dean to be a guest sometime. I guess that'd kind of be up to Rick to try to.
Well, if Rick had given us more than 2 minutes notice that he wasn't going to be here, we could have invited somebody.
I think there might be a big time gap because he's across the pond. But
yeah,
corn and cows in Nebraska.
Too late for him. Rado says, I'm not going to any production. Just things around the shop. A1 and bed slingers are good enough for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're not in a rush.
Yeah, and A1.
And they definitely are cheaper. Yeah. Well, no, they're definitely cheaper than Core XYs. Now, that could be mostly marketing that makes them cheaper. I don't know. But because there's not anything inherently more. It doesn't use a whole lot more parts than a Core XY. In fact, maybe fewer. I don't know, but Core XYs tend to be a bit bigger usually. Tim says, asks me a question. If I don't move the head down to the focal point, the focal point will be on the top of the award. That's right. Okay, so you're focusing from the top. On an Omni X, when you're doing glass, if you're doing an internal engraving, you generally focus on the bed, and then in the software, it'll position it so that it'll come up from the bed. You don't have to mess around with defocusing or moving the focus. So in answer to your question there, Tim, yes, you are correct.
Yep. Say, 425 miles from Omaha to Scottsbluff, where I live. I've made a lot of trips from where I live here in Illinois to Denver, Colorado, and I got to drive all the way across Nebraska to get there, and Iowa. So, of course, I will say that Nebraska is a little bit more scenic than when you first cross into Colorado. When you're on the eastern side of Colorado, it's kind of like being in the desert. There's just nothing there but sagebrush and wind.
Well, once you're on the east side of the Rockies, it's all pretty dry anyway, right? Another question for you.
Yeah.
Well,
what would you call a drive where there's a 90-mile straight road, there's only a slight bend to it? Yeah.
Well, at least you can tell when you're gonna get somewhere eventually, because you can see it 3 hours away, right?
Well, that's why I'm glad the speed limit in Nebraska on Interstate 80 is 75, so I can do 85. Well, 80, 84, because, under 9 you're doing fine. You won't get pulled over.
Jim says he's looking for someone in the States that has a comm marker Titan. Yeah, they've made it. A couple of people have asked me to say. I basically am not shipping anything across the border right now because they've just made it so hard to ship things to you guys in the sunny South.
It's hard for me to ship things anywhere export now. Yeah. I don't even do it anymore. We used to ship our 3D printed stuff all over the world. I don't even do it now. It's U.S. only. It's just got to be so much of a hassle.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm anywhere but the U.S. right now. I had to push back a couple of orders last week because it's just like it's impossible to ship things now. And it didn't help that our postal service was off and on strike, and the world's going to hell.
I don't know. We don't have a government. It's shut down, so.
That means it can't cause any trouble. Boomer says, "What's your favorite rotary chuck for doing tumblers?"
Well, I have one opinion. Mine is an atom stack, but it has a caveat to it. Unless that tumbler is perfectly straight, if it's a tapered tumbler, it is just a giant pain to try to get things leveled up on it and to hold the tumbler long enough to do the. And I do very little laser engraving on tumblers, but once in a while I do. And the last thing I tried to do, actually was this past week, was to try to laser engrave some Collins glasses. And I couldn't keep them on the rotary. They kept slipping off.
Yeah, they tend to be heavy and the chuck isn't strong enough usually, right?
Yeah, even trying to support the other end of it, they would slip. And I finally gave up on it.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of tumblers or rotary work in general, but if I was buying a rotary, I would buy probably a Rotoboss.
The two rotaries I have that I do use from time to time, one's an atom stack, the other's made by Ortur. And they're the high-end rotaries, and they got all kinds of gadgets, so you can like engrave golf balls and stuff like that, but they're so-so.
Yeah. Well, not that you can engrave a golf ball with a diode laser. You'll just turn it into a pile of goo.
Well, on the CO2.
Even CO2s, they don't engrave golf balls very well.
I was getting a pretty good black engrave on them.
Oh, were you? Without it melting?
Yeah.
Because the only real decent golf balls I've been able to engrave are on the UV laser, like an Omni X or Omni 1. Because they don't make heat, right?
Oh, yeah. But it put, of course, I was running low power and high speed, but it put a pretty good black engrave. I was engraving words in there, nothing, no graphics.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, nowadays, if I do a golf ball, I'll do it on the the UV printer. I've now forgotten the name, and they're going to slap me for it.
Well, what made me nervous when I was
That's it.
engraving golf balls, this was a couple of years ago. This was on my Monport 40 K40. I was engraving those exploding golf balls, the ones you hit and they blow up.
Yeah.
And I
They
was
blow up?
engraving some. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They explode. So I was engraving some names on them, and I'm really nervous about, is this thing going to blow up inside my laser? But I did okay.
Make a big cloud of dust inside your laser, because they're not really like an explosive charge, right? They just
disintegrate.
Like a big ball full of compressed powder of some sort.
Yeah. Scotts Bluff, that's Nebraska.
Yeah. TJ Michael was asking Gordon Gregory what part of Nebraska he's from, and that was the answer: Scotts Bluff. Radu says, I had a girlfriend leave me for a tractor salesman. Yikes. It didn't tell me in person. Just wrote me a John Deere letter. Yeah. There's a dad joke.
Yeah, dad joke. Oh, we needed one of them tonight.
Yeah.
Great Lakes Laser Supply. Welcome.
Hey. Yeah, everybody's groaning.
Yeah. Do you use StreamYard? Yes, we do.
Yes. Normally Rick uses it, but he's on hiatus today. But it is StreamYard, yeah. David says, since Rolly isn't made anymore, it was following Alien Cell. Has anybody heard anything about them lately? I think this is one that Rich, he's done some interaction with these guys.
I haven't had any interaction with them at all, so I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's some slight innovation in it that, I'm most interested in new lasers and new shop technology when there's actually some innovation, and the last bunch of lasers that have come out have just been competitors to other things that are already out there as opposed to something new. But this Alien Cell has a couple of interesting things that other lasers don't have. There was another one too. I forget the name of it. XL, I think. XL laser. It's one that Laser Engraving 911 was pushing on, but I don't know. That one, it had a galvo sliding on a gantry. So when it got close to where it needed to be, then it used the galvo laser. It just seems like a whole bunch of overly complex machinery from my perspective. Oops, wrong stream. No, you're in the right place.
Yeah, I think Ryder has a library of dad joke books besides his computer.
I'm sure you probably can find them all on Google.
Yeah, got a few going.
No, in denial, of course. No, unfortunately, they're all stuck in my head from like the theme song from Gilligan's Island. Hey, I know that song. Can't get rid of them.
And the one that got stuck in my head just a couple of days ago, and I really shouldn't even mention it because it'll be there again, is the old theme song from that TV show Flipper.
Yep. I remember that one, and I think I mentioned it last week. Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. Chris probably grew up on that show. He was like Flipper on land. Tim says he drove across the U.S. from Nova Scotia to California. Oklahoma was the worst in the first week of July. Hotter than hell.
Yep, it gets hot down there.
Hey,
Yeah,
Skylar.
so Skylar, she turned off all her international shipping. And yeah, Skylar, I did the same thing, and we're probably doing it for the same reason. It's just become just a giant pain.
Yeah, it's a paper nightmare. Chris says, I know what you mean. It all the wrong things get stuck in my head. That's what my wife tells me too.
Well, the last song that got stuck in my head was been running, actually most of today, was Queen of Bohemian Rhapsody. Heard it on the radio this morning, and it's like stuck there. Yeah,
it's in my Spotify playlist, so.
Great Lakes Laser Supply says, I can come on if you need a bald guy. Well, you already got one on here. If Rick was here, you'd have two. But yeah, well, more than welcome to have another bald one. And if you like to tell bald jokes, I'm great with them.
I would invite you on, except I don't know how to do that. That's
Rick would have to do that.
That's a Rick thing.
Yeah, he's a master administrator.
And unfortunately, he gave me literally, it was, I think I had 12 minutes notice that he wasn't going to be here. So, oops. What do we got? Skylar saying hi. Yeah, because we could have had Skylar on too. Great Lakes Laser Supply saying you didn't know. I assume I was in Canada. I'm on the East Coast. I actually live very close to Tim, who just mentioned he drove to California. There's a couple. Andrew is on here too. He lives literally 5 minutes from me. Hey, Jim. Skylar saying hi again. Great Lake Supply. Americans don't like to admit that there's anything outside the U.S. You can tell that's coming from the Australian contingent.
Oh, yeah, I can relate.
Chris says, there were many of us who wish we were outside lately.
Well, about 5 weeks, I'll be in Mexico for 3 weeks to kind of get away from some of the.
Are you still allowed to go there?
Oh yeah.
Like they haven't shut the door on you?
No. So Jack in the shop.
Go ahead.
In the shop saying he does tumblers on the CO2 with no rotary. I don't do full wraps monument. Yeah, you can get a quarter wrap on a tumbler or a glass on a CO2 without a rotary.
Tim says it, the one we don't have yet. Now I have to go back and figure out the context for this. Sorry, Tim. I'm not going to find it now. I almost need to be able to sort these things by name as well as. Of course, now I lost where I was. Oh, there I am. Okay. Jim says I have to go to RB to do glassware runner on glass instead of metal. RB? Do RB. Rotobus, sorry. To do glassware. Also have an accessory to hold heavy or long objects. Would work great on tumblers.
Say, in my experience with rotaries, and like I said, I don't use them much anymore because I've just not had really good luck with them. And when they first came out with the rotaries, they were really crap. Yeah. If you tried to engrave something that was light, and the rotary consisted of these two rollers that the object sat on, you were pretty much screwed unless you could put some weight in it, because it would slip.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of the rotary setups have a rotary chuck and then the rollers, right? Acmer has one. So is the X-Tool one. Comes with both. And there's so few things you can use the rollers for. I mean, if it's a perfectly parallel water bottle or something, yeah, you can do it. But if it's a tapered glass, then you're trying to figure out how to level it. It's not good.
Well, in the We Create 45 that I have, they did send me the rotary with it. And after looking at it, what all I had to do to put it in is, the hell with this. So it's sitting in the box. I haven't even messed with it.
Yeah, We Create in general struggles to make things easy.
Well, I changed it from the regular head to the IR head. That is such a pain.
Yeah.
That,
Well, actually, if you think it's bad there, the Ortour R2 is way worse because you're literally disassembling the cable that goes up to the laser module. Because you got to run a different cable. Because they, in their infinite wisdom, rather than put a plug on the laser module, they put a long cable fixed to the laser module that plugs in down at the other end. And if you're not switching modules, it's great, but unwrapping that spiral wrap is a pain in the ass. And then trying to get a new cable in there. Chris says he likes the idea of a built-in air monitor, unless you're running several at once. Air monitor. Is that a 3D printer question, Chris? Or a statement? Because, oh no, I bet you this is on the XL laser. Or the alien laser. It has some way to monitor air quality. That's one of the features that Rich mentioned. Good. Sam has some questions. Keep asking.
Yeah, more than happy to give him a shot.
Oh, there's Rick apologizing.
Yeah, I missed tonight's live. He's out delivered pizza, so
yeah. He's probably doing this right from the comfort of his Uber car.
Yeah, or Grubhub, one of the
two. Chris says Skippy was recorded 10 miles from his house. Yeah, it's a classic show. I wish I could find it online somewhere, just to reminisce of it. I wouldn't watch like a whole series; just one episode would be enough. I have the same reaction to Gilligan's Island.
Well, mine is a Three Stooges. Every once in a while, I'll run across or be running an episode of the Three Stooges, and I'll have to sit and watch it. I've seen all of them. I don't know how many times, but
Trade Skillers Anonymous is back. He says, "Hey guys and gals, hopefully everyone's having an amazing day." Well, I didn't have to plumb today, so that makes it amazing. G'day, TSA. So I hear, Roger, that tomorrow they're going to shut down O'Hare Airport for like 8 hours or something. Like do a ground stop because there's no air traffic controllers.
Well, that happened in Burbank, California the other day. All the air traffic controllers said, we're going home at 4:15, and they all left.
Yeah, it's supposed to be shut down from like 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. or something tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping they get this crap. I'm hoping they get this crap straightened out by November 23rd when I fly.
Just scoot across the border and fly out of what's north of you? Winnipeg, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Tim says, biggest killer about these international shippings is he's lost JDS. Yeah. Yeah, by the time I was talking to Jim Hamilton about JDS one day, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll try some things from them. And then everything went to hell. And it's like, yep, I'll wait for that to all end before I try.
Yeah, Chris was saying for a while we couldn't send to the USA. The Postal Service couldn't keep up with the tariff charges. And that goes, the same goes for sending stuff the other way, too. When I try to send stuff to other countries, and because of the tariff thing going back and forth and the big debate, and what I'm literally calling the trade war, it's just making it just impossible. So I quit doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll work out one of these days. Skylar's asking me if I feel that the production version of the E1 prints slower than the beta version. I haven't really noticed. But usually when I start it, I'll start a print and then I'll walk away and I'll come back when I hear it play some music in the background. So I don't know. It might be. I know it makes different noises than the beta one, especially stirring the white ink tank. Seems a little rougher. Maybe they've just got a little more aggressive stir. Same 88 says, do you know maybe why I cannot find an Atom Stack Pro 70 with a smaller work area? Do they still make it? Let's have a look. Oh, I was going to say, Roger, you can take the comment stream, but
No, I can't do that.
what do you mean you can't do that?
I don't have the power.
Just click on a name. Click on the next name.
Yeah, but it doesn't do anything when I do that.
Well, I do it whenever I'm not the live stream god. Let's see. Well, they still have it on their website.
No, I can't click on comments. Well, I don't even have. All it does is it's just an arrow.
Ah, what'd you do to Rick? You must have upset him or something.
I've never had that been able to do it.
Huh. Oh yeah, there's only the Atom Stack A70 Max. Huh, maybe they stopped it. I'll go back to my outrageous claim that you're going to start seeing cheap diode lasers falling off the bottom of the market. Yep. Oh, here's a question, Roger. Do you and I primarily do laser CNC work, or do you get into traditional woodworking?
Well, I'm messing with my video here. Yes, I do woodworking, and I do a lot of
There you go. The timing
hundreds and hundreds of these, and that's woodworking jobs. And like I say, we do probably close to 1,000 of these a year.
Well, that's not exciting. Making the same square over and over again. I do mostly laser or CNC work, some 3D printer work, not a lot. But I do a bit of traditional woodworking. Every once in a while, I'll have somebody come and ask for like an inlaid cutting board or something, and rather than buy some off the shelf thing, I'll make the cutting board as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of laser stuff too. I mean, I do a tremendous amount of laser work. I mean, like there's a one that from when I was in the shop with my bug eye glasses on there that I showed last week. But yeah, and that's see how neat my shop is. It's never neat, but yeah, we do laser stuff. It's not uncommon for me to have 3 or 4 lasers running at once. I do a slight amount of CNC, not near what Rick does, but I do a little bit of CNC work. But my CNC is only a 40/40, so I don't have a huge work area.
Yeah, I used to make do a lot of resin work and make some charcuterie boards and stuff. I don't do too much of that anymore. I'll do something in resin once in a while, but not often.
My CNC work is primarily shot glass flights. You know, where you have 5 shots and you got a paddle and you can put the bar's name on it, and I can engrave that in there. And it's a combination of CNC and laser, both.
Chris is asking if we can turn on time stamping to get an idea of the context of late messages. Maybe. I don't know how to do it. That's a Rick problem too.
Yeah,
ask that question next week when Rick is back. This one. Oh yeah, Chris says one of those new lasers has the Air M built-in, air management. Yeah, that's the Alien Cell one. That's the one we're talking about. Yeah, because Rich mentioned it one day.
Well, I like. Can I get a large Hawaiian delivered? He's talking pizza.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
you guys don't
asking.
make those, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Rick might make them. But you got to understand, if you're getting a Hawaiian pizza, it's going to have pineapple on it. So that opens up a whole new debate. Well, whether pineapple belongs in a pizza or not.
it does not.
Well, that's one of my wife's favorite pizzas is Hawaiian.
In a sad irony, Hawaiian pizza was developed in Canada. Go figure. We don't have pineapples. We don't have Hawaiians. Somebody decided to put ham and pineapppples on pizza.
Oh, it's Canadian bacon up there.
No, it's ham on a Hawaiian pizza. I don't think I've ever seen Canadian bacon. I mean, we don't even talk about Canadian bacon here. We just have normal bacon.
No, see down here, they talk about Canadian bacon and sauerkraut. That's another big.
Well, sauerkraut's a big German thing, and there's a good German contingent around. My father used to make sauerkraut all the time.
Yeah, the Canadian bacon and sauerkraut pizza is a real popular thing around this area. And to me, Canadian bacon tastes like ham. So,
yeah, it's more like what's the stuff? It's like with the cornmeal on the outside of it. But yeah, I mean, I had to go to the U.S. to find out what Canadian bacon was because you won't find it here too often. There, Chris has it right. You've seen one episode of Skippy. You've basically seen them all. Every week, Jimmy falls in the well, and Skippy has to go find help. Yes, yeah, Rick is playing. I just thought about this. Rick is making us do all this work, and he's gonna take all these views away. Yeah. So nobody give Rick a thumbs up this week. He can't get a thumbs up. He didn't participate. Wait, Skylar has a production unit. Yeah, that's why I was hesitant to answer that question, Rick. All the beta testers got production units. I got mine, I don't know, probably a month ago or more. And it wasn't that they thought, oh, you guys did a great job beta testing and reviewing these things, so we'll send you a new one. They wanted the beta units back to look at them, look at machines with hours on them. So, they could, I guess, evolve if they had to production and find out where they need to improve quality or make things a better design, whatever. So they pulled them all back.
We had a company that's been about 2 months ago, sent us a heat press, automatic heat press. And it was 16 by 20. It was a large format, automatic. And it had a slide out tray, and you put your whatever on it and slide it in, and it automatically adjusts for the thickness of the item and the correct pressure, and you set your temperature and the time, and this is all good and great, and it was a piece of crap. And that's why there was never a review on it. And I kept going back and forth with the company, and they wanted all the feedback on it and everything. And they finally sent me a ticket, and it said, just send it back. And please don't put a video up. So they're reworking their whole production thing. It's a great concept. And if it would have worked, it would have been fantastic for production. If you're doing shirts or, heavy sublimation or mouse pads or coasters, or it would have been just fantastic, but it just did not work. Yeah, trade wars are basically the correct term, as Chris is saying. That's the tariff thing is just screwing everybody up.
Well, for one thing, it's a 13% tax on you guys, but yeah. Same 88 says on the website it's only the Max, and I guess they must have got rid of the A70, the regular one, because I don't see it. Oh well. Buy the Max. Although it's a lot more money.
Yeah, I prefer the term stupidity, and I will agree with that. We're not going to get political here, but
yeah, there you go. Clack is going to answer this question. Yeah, they killed off the A70 Pro. they have limited stock of the A70 Max, so they're getting rid of that one too. Then it's on sale right now. It's like $250 off or something. Yeah, open frame lasers are definitely going to disappear, I think. I mean, there's safety concerns with them, right? Yeah, even Dave. What is that? What? I wish there wasn't so much lag in the comment section on StreamYard, because it can be 10 minutes before someone sees a comment, right?
Oh, Chris was saying they look like pizza boxes. Rick on the way to pick them up. He must be talking about what he sees in the background. Look up. That's filament.
Yeah, boxes of filament.
Yep, and it goes all the way down the wall. We stock a lot of filament because I use a lot of it.
Is it all the same color? It's all like gray or black or something?
It's mostly black and white, but I do have colors there. I mean, you can see, like in my AMS, you'll see some mixed colors there.
Yeah, I use mostly black, white, gray, and orange.
We primarily use black and white, but sometimes I need different colors for different things.
This is a good question. David says, has Rick actually made anything with his CNC? He only talks about getting new parts every week. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I gave him a project, the interlocking puzzle piece board, but I haven't seen it yet.
I can send him a project with my shot glass flight. It's real easy to make, and you can make it out of a cedar fence picket. So
yeah, but that's easy. You got to give him a challenge.
Well, I'll get him started on something.
Well, that's why I showed him the puzzle piece cutting board, because I mean, literally, I hammered that thing together. By the time I got glue on one side of it, it was the glue was thick enough that it got hard to put together. So if money wasn't an issue, you were starting with lasers. Out of these three, which would you get? Thunder, Omtech, or X-Tool?
Must be talking CO2 here.
Yeah, I assume so.
And I don't have any of those three in CO2, so that's not a question.
You don't have an X-Tool P2?
No, I got the S1.
Now I'm biased here. I would buy the X-Tool. As somebody who reviews a lot of stuff, I have a lot of things come and go from my shop. The X-Tool P2 is there, and I use it. I used it today, in fact. I use it a lot, almost every day. If I was picking an order, I'd pick X-Tool, Thunder, and Omtech in that order. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those lasers.
Well, Trade Skillers Anonymous was talking about the stack of pizza boxes around the driveway with their drawers. No, they are what they call candy boards. And they are used on beehives, Langstroth style beehives, and we can for 5-frame, 8-frame, and 10-frame Langstroth beehives. Unless you're a beekeeper, you don't have any idea what I'm talking about. But what this is for is it's a mixture of basically sugar and a little bit of water, and you place it in this board, which has a wire base on it, and you let it harden. It becomes like a brick. And you put that on top of the beehive over the winter. So if they run out of their winter stores of honey, or like, let's say you harvested too much honey in the fall, and they didn't have enough food to get through the winter, they will use that as emergency resources. And then in the spring, when the weather warms up, usually around mid-March or so, when you got a few things blooming like maple trees and that, there's some pollen out there, you take the candy boards off because they don't need them anymore, and they find them to be a nuisance. They'll take all the sugar out of them and throw them out the front of the hive. So, yeah. But those are quilt boxes we make, which goes on top of a candy board. to absorb moisture during the winter and insulate the hive. Yeah, we do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them every year.
Yeah, my father used to keep bees. Had a few hundred hives, actually. Chris says, I try to put a little context into my comments when you can't keep up. It's not that we can't keep up. It's StreamYard's delays things. Like if you look on the stream here versus what's on YouTube right now, it can be up to, I don't know, 20, 30-second delay at least. Because we're streaming to 3 YouTube channels, Facebook, Instagram, like it's just everywhere. So I guess StreamYards gets a little busy.
Well, Chris has got a good idea here. Let's see Rick make some wooden challenge coins as a challenge for CNC.
Yep. I actually started that way when I was making any kind of challenge coin. Because wood is cheap by comparison to, say, a big hunk of brass.
Yeah.
And they actually look nice. Make wooden nickels.
Yeah.
Like official wooden nickels, right? Big.
Well, I had someone here, a couple, maybe I might have mentioned it last week. I had a viewer ask if I could demonstrate on using one of the IR lasers of actually engraving gold. I don't have much gold bullion laying around to engrave on, so.
You don't? I got it piled up on the floor here.
If anybody wants to send me some gold, I'll be more than happy to engrave something on it for you.
He may not get it back, but
yeah,
you'll send a picture.
Yeah.
The price of gold right now is just crazy. It's like
it's like
$4,200 an ounce.
You know, say it's over 4,000. I know.
Yeah. So Trade Skillers Anonymous, he actually kind of sums this up. The build quality of the Thunder is excellent. Xtool, their native software, which is now called Xtool Studio, is got an easier learning curve. Yeah, these are some of the reasons, right? Why, not that I care that much that Xtool's software is easier. The thing I like about it is when you turn it on, it works every time. You don't have to twiddle knobs and Thunders are, they're a little more old school. They don't push the envelope on innovation, but they're solid for sure. Lots of people complain about the cost of Xtool lasers. I don't know. You kind of get what you pay for, I think.
That Xtool's tech support is pretty much up there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a problem with if you have a question and you send it to Xtool, no, you're not going to get it back the same day, but you'll have an answer the next day.
Yeah, I had to replace the controller board in my P2S, and I sat on a video call with like 3 people from Xtool while they kind of piloted me through how to disassemble the thing and get it swapped. So that kind of support doesn't happen in most companies. Did Ike here buy out Atom Stack? No, it's kind of the other way, I think. Atom Stack always had this, well, not always, but had this Premier line, the IKEA line. So it's all the same company, but they sell under 2 different names.
Well, it's kind of like Ortur and Ofero. It's the same company.
Yeah. I think Ortur has they have a couple of low-end names as well. Well, Ofero was supposed to be their upscale line too, right? But as far as I always thought
it was like their step below the regular, like the Laser Master.
I don't know.
Laser Master. I mean, I still use a Laser Master 3. I use the hell out of it. Use it every week.
Yeah, those things you can't kill. Like
it just works. That and my longer B1s. I mean, they just runs nonstop. I never have any problems.
Yeah, there are definitely some high end, high quality lasers. We'll say they're not high end because the longer B1 is actually priced pretty well.
Kevin says, "Good evening, everyone."
He was online though, wasn't he? Maybe he's saying good evening as in goodbye.
No, it'd be.
Ordinary Woodworker. They are the same company. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's lots of people saying the same thing here. Thanks for explaining what they were, Roger. That's the
handy boards.
Yeah. So getting back to this question that Ordinary Woodworker asked, there are a lot of different brand names for lasers and not nearly as many companies that actually make diode lasers, well, lasers in general. Atom Stack in particular is pretty prolific. They have some of their own brand names, but they also sell bulk to some other companies. Like a lot of the cheap ones you see on Amazon are they're actually built by Atom Stack without their name on it, obviously.
Yeah, I'll throw another one here. I was messing with some pictures here that I've got on this card about, actually doing woodworking here in the shop. And that is not the picture I wanted. I wanted this one here. So I also do hive boxes, what they call supers for beehives. And these are the layouts for the deep. So yes, I do a lot of woodworking here.
Yeah, you even do the nice handles on them.
I built a jig for that would scare the hell out of people the way I cut them handles.
Does it involve turning something on a table saw?
No, it's not done on a table saw. It's done with a handheld circular saw. And I built a jig.
It's even more scary.
It holds it at an angle, and I stack two blades on a circular saw with the teeth offset.
Yeah.
And I start at the top and let the saw bed just very gradually slide down, and it cuts that handle opening. Works perfect. Scares the hell out of people to see me do it.
I can imagine.
There's no guard on that saw or anything. It's strictly for that purpose.
You hope it doesn't slide out of control and you reach down and instinctively grab it without the guard.
No, and that particular saw actually has a brake on it, so when I let go of the trigger, it instantly stops. But Tim says gold is $4,232.60 US right now.
That was today's close. Yeah, it's actually dropped a little bit on the Asian market, but
yeah, I'm just a little short on bullion around here or Krugerrands or any of that kind of stuff. I just don't have them.
Yeah. Chris says he notices Cloud Ray is now selling coin blanks, but from the description, they're only brass coated. Yeah, you got to be really careful with any of these brass coins, copper. Most of the copper coins you see are just copper plated zinc or something. And the second you cut through that copper plating, it's just anything you engrave on there turns black. Like not even nice black. It's like bubbly and it's just terrible. I still have probably 10 or 15 of these brass coated coins, and the only thing I found I can do with them is I can UV print on them. You can't engrave with any laser on them because they're just terrible.
I had a comment on one of my videos from way back. It came across this last week. I have underneath one of my honeycomb boards, I've got a sheet of galvanized steel. And they're saying, well, the galvanizing, that's going to poison you. The laser will turn that into no. And I've actually done a video here quite a while back where I took a sheet of galvanized, laid it on the diode laser, and turned it to 100% power and like 10 millimeters per minute. It doesn't even make a mark, didn't do anything. So you're not going to engrave zinc with a diode laser. You're not going to make it go into vapor. Yeah. So if anybody has that idea that galvanized is bad on the diode laser, don't worry about it because it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, the real test would be to put a gas sniffer on it, make sure you're not getting chromium off of it or something. But I guess
Liter-
galvanize is really only, I don't think they put any chromium in galvanize anyway. I think it's really only zinc plated, right?
Yeah, and it's literally does not even make a mark on it. It's just nothing.
No. Yeah. Diode lasers don't engrave all metals, mostly stainless steel. Tim says he retired his iCure K1 Pro for the new CNC space issues. Yeah, that's a decent trade. Anyone on the East Coast looking for a fun laser? Yeah, Rick or Tim bought himself a Genmitsu 4040 XL Pro. It's a nice little CNC. He's totally converted now. He didn't. I don't think he used a CNC before, but he was sending me all these pictures last week of things he's done, and he's like, he's on the path now. I'm sure he'll be selling that one and buying a bigger one soon.
My 4040 CNC is a Genmitsu, but it's a Reno model.
Yeah.
And the problem I had with it, and James Dean did a video on it too, and among many other YouTubers, that the bed will sag in the middle. Horrible.
Yeah.
So you literally have to make a new bed for it.
Well, you put a little stilt in the middle, underneath.
Well, I just made a new bed out of just solid MDF.
Yeah. Well, MDF will settle over time too, especially if it's in anywhere where there's moisture.
Well, since that's also my spoil board, and I spoil it all the time, I'm usually changing it.
Doesn't last long enough to say.
No. Invariably, if I'm cutting out a snowflake, there'll be a snowflake in the spoil board too. So.
Yeah. I think Tim mentioned he's already upgrading this CNC to the bigger rails. Skylar says, I sent Xtool a message on Facebook that I would buy some extra mesh filters for my Xtool P2S at 10:40. When I woke up at 6 a.m., I had a message back from them. Yeah, they don't waste a lot of time. Now, Xtool has a U.S. office now. It's in California, of course, but they actually do have people on staff in a U.S. office, unlike almost every other company.
Well, I know I had an issue where I needed to contact Longer about something, and it was like 1 a.m. when I did it, and I had an instant response. But that's because it was their workday in China.
Yeah. Skylar says by the time she'd started drinking her coffee, she'd purchased 20 filters. You know, you can vacuum these filters, right, Skylar? You don't have to buy 20 of them. 20 would be enough for me for 20 lasers for life. Here's a question for you, Roger.
Now, do I let go of the trigger because I got my fingers off? No, my fingers are nowhere near the blade. They're on top of the saw when I'm doing these handle cuts. And if I do let go of the trigger, it's because something bound up or I found a knot that I didn't think was there or something like that. But I rarely have a problem. And I've done hundreds of these, and I've still got them all.
That's why I got a saw stop now.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on figuring out some kind of jig I could do to do the same thing on the saw stop. Just haven't quite figured out how to work it out yet.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because it's not like a full.
No, it's a half moon with a solid edge on it, and it's hard to do. So, got into the discussion last night on another site. I contend that if the laser companies would let software people take care of that portion, they could concentrate on quality of the lasers.
Well, as both a hardware and software person, I don't know. Many times as a software person, I just wished that anybody who wasn't a software person would leave me alone so I could write some code. But the problem with lasers is it's it's a fairly complex appliance, right? So the software is driven by a ton of inputs coming off the laser, and depending on the laser, like Xtool has monitors for all kinds of stuff built into their lasers. Some are simpler than that. Certainly diode lasers are a simpler process, but you can't just write the software and expect it to work. You really have to beat up a laser to try it. But I think solving the quality problem, there's two ways, right? Use better parts and actually answer your damn phone when somebody says, hey, I've got a problem. And when you're buying a $100 diode laser, you're not getting either of those things. It's just how it is. Chris says he says to Tim he's working on the wrong coast for the laser. Yeah, and the wrong continent. Yeah, it's that laser for you, Chris. That laser is literally as far as away as you can get on this planet without coming back, because it's literally the opposite side of the planet from you.
That's a Tim saying for sale, a Genmetsu 4030 V2 Pro. What's
Yep.
an Atmel now?
Yeah, he was looking at those when he bought this one. Keep both. You're just gonna have to build a bigger shop, Tim, or throw something out. That 87 bobbin quilting sewing machine you have there for making hat badges, you don't need that. Can't make any sawdust with that.
Okay, Dave is asking, will a diode laser cut black acrylic that isn't real dark black? Yes.
Yeah.
As long as it's a real dark color, like a dark brown or a dark blue. But when you get into lighter colors, it's going to melt. When you get into clear, they're not going to do anything at all.
Yeah, and certain colors like oranges and reds don't cut well. Even dark red. But black, brown, you'll be able to cut that.
Well, for me, if I'm cutting acrylic, it's on the CO2. I don't care what color it is.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's just fast, easy, and accurate.
Or if you want to have a little fun, cut it on a table saw.
Oh yeah.
Just wear a full face mask.
Yeah. Chris is saying, put me up for a night in Austin, and he'll box it up.
For one night in Australia, man, the time difference would kill you.
Oh, I wouldn't want to have us that flight time. It's got to be 22 hours.
Yeah. I used to fly to India quite a bit from here. It's a 25-hour flight. And that was enough. Did that a few times, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going anymore. Then COVID hit, and it became a non-issue.
Now, so ordinary woodworker is saying to me that I can get a sturdy MDF with aluminum slats for that one. Yes, I can. I could order it from Genmetsu. He upgraded his 4040 Pro when he got the X-axis extension. I was just really surprised that Genmetsu never came back to address the problem that they had with the Reno, with that bed sagging like that. And like I said, there's a lot of YouTubers that pointed it out, and it was not like it happened way down the line. It more or less happened within the first week or two when you have the CNC.
Yeah. If you're suspending MDF, it's probably are they using 3/4 inch MDF or half?
Oh, it's half, and it's in two pieces.
Yeah. So 1/2 inch MDF has no structural strength, right? Like and the first thing you're going to do is probably shave off a millimeter or so off the top to make it flat. So it's just going to sag instantly. If it's more than 8 inches of span, it's just going to dip.
I changed mine to a solid 3/4, and yeah, I did lose a little bit of my X-axis, or my Z-axis in height, but for what I do, it's just making the shot glass plates. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, just slide the spindle up in the clamp a 1/4 inch, and you'll gain that space, all that height.
Yeah, did that too.
Oops. Yeah. So, Tim, you're in as long as you don't make Chris pay for the flight. First class on Qantas all the way.
Oh, I can relate to this one. Engineers used to hate me when I was doing product testing. They say no one will do that. My answer was always, I did it. And back when I did PLC programming for industrial control on electronics, I would get that, "Well, we can't do that." Well, it does now. Well, it can't do that. I said, well, it does. Well, how'd you do that? I says, I did it. And what's neat is my younger son has taken over that particular job in a company I used to work for, and he gets to do the same thing. He just loves it.
In the software world, the favorite response from software developers when a QC person reports an issue is, well, it works on my machine. And I had one of the QC people on my team come to me and say, can you help me out? Because I'm not getting any response from this guy. He just keeps saying it works on his machine. So we got on a call. He was in Boston, so he was not local. And that was his response to me. Well, it works on my machine. I said, well, I got bad news for you. We're not shipping your effing machine. We're shipping the same thing that this QC person has on her desk. So make it work on her machine. And that was the last time I ever heard that response on anything from my team.
Yeah, it's just for the MDF slats, they're now 3/4 sturdy, no sagging. And, I may look into that yet. Like I said, I don't use that CNC all that often.
The problem with MDF though is once you shear off the coating, because they have a kind of a glossy coating on MDF usually.
Well, yeah, then it really absorbs the moisture.
Yeah, and then that'll make it sag because one side is much firmer, so it gets tighter on one side, and that's usually when, like, even MDF on, if you have like underlying plywood or something, it'll still warp if it's not screwed down well enough. Once you cut that layer to level off the bit.
Well, I've gone so far after doing the leveling as to coat it with lacquer.
Yeah, you could do that,
and that works fine until you spoil the board, and then it
which is anyway. Like the first time I turned on the spindle on my CNC. I spent a whole bunch of time, the board, the spoil board that's on it right now, I spent a whole bunch of time making it all perfect. You're drilling holes every 2 inches for like dog holes to hold pins. And first thing I did was carve a whale into it. Somebody wanted a whale, and instead of 20 millimeters, I was at 24 millimeters, and I have a whale shape on my spoil board.
Well, right now my spoil board's got a 6-inch round snowflake.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's only probably 1/10 of a millimeter deep, but it's there.
Yeah, you can see it. Hey, Zentenro's here. Too bad we don't have that green MDF that they can get in Europe. Yeah, well, so there's a couple of different kinds of MDF even in North America, and it has to do with whether it gets used outside or only inside. Now, I would never put MDF outside, but they do make stuff it's got different glue in it, and you'll notice it most when you're trying to laser cut it, because if it's the stuff with the hard glue in it, you just basically make black cinders with MDF when you're trying to cut it.
Well, I've seen at one, I don't remember which home store I was at. Might have been Menards. They have a UV coated. It's MDF. It's made for outside. For signboards. And I've looked at it. It's expensive, so I never bought any. But I was always thinking, I wonder what a laser would do with that. But
yeah, it won't cut it. Like even CO2s have trouble cutting MDF because it's hard, and it's basically compressed paper, right? So or sawdust, depending on what quality you have, but it just doesn't cut well.
Another thing I found that is really, really difficult to cut with a diode laser is tempered hardboard. That's almost impossible to cut with a diode laser. You can do it with CO2, but a diode laser just won't do it.
Yeah, you think cardboard is like, oh, it's just paper. It's actually pretty hard to cut cardboard with certainly with a diode laser. CO2s don't care; they'll cut anything. But you'll see sometimes like the settings that you'd use to cut like 1/4-inch plywood, and you use those on cardboard, and it doesn't cut all the way through.
Well, too, cardboard's abrasive too. So I mean, one of the fastest ways to build a utility knife is to cut a bunch of cardboard with it.
Yeah, I cut a lot of it and stack it up for recycling.
Yeah, I do too. And I go through a lot of blades.
Yeah, you go through at least a blade a week just doing that.
Well, Chris is saying he had to add packing under the spoil board to prevent sagging on it.
Yeah, you can make yourself a little peg, a little pedestal to stick in the middle. This is a known problem, right? It's just it's a bad design. It's a bad design.
I just wish that Genmitsu would own up to it, and they don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you don't have to be like it doesn't have to sag very much, right? 1/2 millimeter is enough to see it in a cut on a piece of wood, and like it just basically makes the thing useless.
Yeah, Zantero said he's cut tempered hardboard, but it's inconsistent. And like I say, I've done it on CO2, okay, but with a diode laser, it's just no.
Yeah, it's anything you can get at this hardboard, anything you can get at a hardware store to cut is hit or miss. Plywood too, right? You'll be cutting a piece of plywood and you'll hit like they put these little plaster filler things in them. It's like plastic wood where there's a knot, and you hit that stuff and it all flames out, and it's just like you'll have this really nice cut and then there'll be a black hole because it hit one of these things in the middle.
Well, now that you brought up plywood, one of the things I had to do this past week, went to Home Depot here because I needed some more 1/4-inch plywood, which is actually 2.7 millimeter here. But I needed more, and that's the only place I can get it in 4x8 sheets. And I went in and I looked at the pile, and then I went and I found one of the guys. I said, "You got anything that's like even halfway flat?" This looked like it was a wave in the ocean. It was waves in it.
Yeah.
But I still got 10 sheets of it, and cut it into my 16-inch squares like I always do for what I do with the lasers, and just sprayed some newspaper with water and put the layer of newspaper in between each sheet, stacked it up, put a concrete block on top of it. It's flat now.
Yeah. Yeah, I generally don't buy it when it's like that. If you want like cheap, we'll call it plywood, the stuff that they use underneath ceramic tile, they put like the subfloor stuff underneath.
Oh yeah.
That stuff is always flat.
Yeah, that's 1/4-inch though here.
Yeah, you can get 1/8 inch too.
Oh, here
I normally for that stuff I normally use 1/4-inch. Like it's great for cutting on a either diode laser or CO2. Cuts like butter.
Yeah, this is my only option. I needed the 1/8-inch plywood. I needed a lot of it, and I had to get it anyway. So, but laying it out on my cut stand and sawing it up was a challenge. I had a lot of concrete blocks involved.
Park your truck on it.
Yeah.
Centenro says, I found with my 20-watt blue light laser, it doesn't do any good to do a cut test because sometimes it will cut one pass and sometimes it takes 4 passes. Yeah,
it depends on the
material.
material.
It's composition, right? If it's like hardware store, anything, there'll be variations in the glue that if it's plywood, the glue that holds it together. Some places there'll be big blobs of it, and other places it'll be thin. It's one of those things you just kind of live with, right? You set your laser to 100%, go 200 millimeters a minute and hope for the best. And if it doesn't cut it, you do it again. Yeah. Chris Gallagher says the base plate on his fiber laser is starting to show the history of his jobs. My Titan laser, while I was doing a review on it, I put the scale for a material test on it in like the first 20 minutes of turning it on. And I was a little upset about it. But yeah, all of my lasers have most of them actually have a power scale on them from a material test. And you can't, I mean, the stuff is all anodized, right? So you can't do anything about it. You can't fix it. Santa's laser engraving says, yeah, I have half of one of my business cards on my fiber laser. The struggle's real.
Hit the pedal by accident. Well, I was talking about hitting the pedal by accident here a couple weeks ago. I was cutting some stuff up on the scroll saw, and I have a foot pedal on it. And I still use a scroll saw on a 3/4 inch pine, but I was took the blade out and I was going to put it in for an inside cut, and accidentally put my foot on the pedal while I was trying to put the blade in. So that was a disaster.
Yeah. The foot pedal for my fiber laser is actually sitting on top of the laser. It's more of a hand pedal for me. I don't want to walk on the thing by accident and start some job going. Chris says, yes, Santa. That's why my pedal got moved up to my desk. There you go. This is how you learn. I keep a stack. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris says I keep a stack of concrete pavers outside my work shed for flattening some wood from big box stores, and I do too. Concrete blocks, landscape blocks, and even of course Steve said you buy that underlayment for ceramic tile. That's fantastic, but here it's just the thinnest I get is 1/4 inch. And the disadvantage is it has these little X's on it where to put the nails already printed on the plywood.
Yeah, well, yeah. So the stuff I get doesn't have those.
Otherwise, I mean, if you're going to paint it or something, it doesn't make any difference. But I needed to make a whole bunch of coaster holders for a bar that ordered a bunch of coasters, so I needed a whole bunch of 1/8 inch plywood. So I had to buy it, had to flatten it, but it worked.
Yeah, I don't actually use nearly as much 1/8 inch plywood as I used to, but I've got a big pile of it, and I keep it squeezed down flat normally. I always pile the heavier materials on top of it, and then when you need it, it's still flat.
I'll always keep a 8 by 16 concrete block on top of it.
Then you got to lift that thing.
Yeah, 36 pounds. Not a big deal.
Yeah, but my wood rack is actually up over my head, right? So.
Oh, well, they give you a workout then.
Yeah, I'm not going to lift a 36-pound thing over my head. That'll be the time when like my hand gives out or something and I drop a block on my head. I make enough dumb accidents as it is. That's it. That's the end of the comment stream. So if you have a question, feel free to ask it. Just as I said there.
And this is a good idea. Ordinary woodworkers that use old gallon milk jugs filled with play sand for flattening the big box store's 5.2 millimeter plywood and the water technique. And yes, a little bit of water in there, and the stuff flattens right out again. It's just put the weight on it. It'll work.
You get the ones with the handle on them, and you can actually fill them with concrete if you want. Then you have them forever. And they have a handle, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know, man. Even I've noticed even laser grade plywood lately hasn't been very flat. It's just like they've got to the end of the good wood in the forest and now they're down to the scraps. And it's all crap. It's just gross.
Well, when I was looking at this plywood at Home Depot, they had it up on their rack, and it has these like big arms that stick out every so often. Well, the plywood followed the rack.
Yeah.
So you take it off the rack and you put it on your cart, and it follows the rack. I mean,
Yeah.
you got these waves, and that's why I said, you got any of the stuff that's like actually flat? Well, that's all
when
we got is right
you got
there.
you got to go back into the warehouse and pull one off the pile, not one that's on a rack. Because anything they put in the store, they're going to put on a rack, right? And you will get it. If it's not a fast moving product, it will. It only takes like 2 days, and it's like
Now, I
that.
will say when I go to the main store I buy wood from is Menards here. It's a local, well, it's a chain, but it's big, but it's more of in the Midwest of the U.S. And one thing I will say is their plywood is flat. I've never had a problem getting like warped or crooked or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's just flat.
So they probably store it in
That and
in a stack.
they do a huge turnover too, so it's
Yeah.
not like sitting around for a long time.
Yeah. Well, here's a Radu's getting back to the A1, so you can have this question, Roger.
Okay, when it came out, people weren't complaining that you had to be online or the cloud or whatever. Is that still a thing? I do it over what it's called LAN. I have not upgraded the firmware to their new thing where you have to use their cloud and do all that BS. So all my bamboo printers are on a private LAN. I have not done a firmware upgrade, so I don't deal with that. I don't use a cloud. It's all over our LAN.
So my H2D is stock bamboo firmware, and it's the latest and greatest, right? So you can turn off the external, like the connection to bamboo if you want. So I just leave it. I'm connected to bamboo. It's nice because while I'm, if I'm bored while I'm at, walking around a store, I can turn on my phone and run the app and see how my printer's doing, which I can't do if it's local only. So
yeah, I can say I'm looking at getting a P2S. I'm really seriously considering it. I will turn off I guess they call it developer mode.
yeah,
You put it in developer mode, and then you can run it on your LAN, and it doesn't go into their cloud. And I'm not worried about Bamboo stealing my designs. I don't give a crap if they want to steal my designs. I don't think they're going to do it. But the other people say, well, those things have a camera in them, and they can see what you're doing. Well, I don't walk around my shop naked either. At least not normally.
yeah.
So,
Well, I assume most of the other printers are the same, but on the HTD, the camera's in the front left corner looking at the bed.
yeah,
And
that's the way it is on the X1
yeah,
series
and
too.
you can't. Sure, I guess if somebody was dancing on your workspace, you'd see them, but you can't really see anything because, well, especially on an H2D, there's only one little window and then the front door, which you can't see anything out of with the camera. So, I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much.
I don't worry about it. And, on my A1s, they both have cameras on them. The camera looks at the bed. Unless you're laying your junk out on the bed, nobody's going to see it. This.
And that could be painful if it's set to 75 Celsius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. People are always worried about things. Ironically, there's just a lot more to worry about, right? Like if you're worried about people tracking you, then throw away your cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but that's too important for most people, so they'll sacrifice privacy. But ironically, if the CIA or NSA wanted to track you, they wouldn't look at your printer. They would look at your phone and find out where you were.
Well, so Ontario says he's only been to a Menards once, a few hours away. They had one whole building for plywood. Well, the way the Menards here, we have two of them here locally in the Quad Cities, is they have if you're looking for construction plywood, like what they call CDX, or you want the green treated or outdoor treated, that is in the outdoor warehouse. If you want something like AB, or you want oak veneer or maple veneer or birch veneer or an AB quality plywood, it's inside the store, and they have racks in there and carts, and you just load up what you want, and away you go.
And are they flat racks? They're not rods sticking out of the wall or out of a shelf.
No, they're flat racks, and you
Yeah.
can just grab the stuff you want and load it up. And if you can't handle it yourself, like for me, handling a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood is getting to be a challenge anymore. And I usually ask for help.
Yeah.
Help
Well,
me load it on
especially
the
if it's a
cart.
full sheet. Yeah. It's
If it happens to be MDF, I will absolutely get help because I cannot lift a sheet of 3/4 MDF by myself.
no.
Not anymore. It's way
That's
over
why
100
that's
pounds.
why they got all the high school kids working there.
Yeah.
Chris says, I have a guy that puts aside flat wood for me. Well, if you got that kind of a relationship with your hardware store guy, that's a good way to have it, because you never know what you're going to get at most hardware stores.
Well, I actually asked at Menards last year. I said, "What do you do with all this wood? Like you're going to go by 1x4s or 1x6s or 1x8s, pine. What do you do with the ones that nobody wants? That are just jacked up and messed up and stuff." Well, they all go onto a pallet, and then we put them out on these Menards deals. You buy a whole pallet of the stuff for whatever. So I bought a pallet of it last year. It was all 1x pine. Yeah, and I got a lot of wood out of it for what I do because I don't need the full lengths. I build these candy boards in high boxes and a lot of scrap, but it was really cheap. I think I bought the whole pallet for $50, and you couldn't even approach. I mean, it was several $100s worth if you were going to go with a full retail price on it. That's what they do with their more or less junk wood. You just got to watch for it.
Can you get on their mailing list?
Now you got to they have an outside rack, and you got to kind of check it every once in a while and what's on there. They do the same thing with sheet goods. Get messed up plywood or OSB or stuff like that. They'll put a pallet of it together. You can buy it real cheap.
Clark says his A1 has an offline mode. Yeah, so does the HTD. But no thanks. He likes the perks of online. Yeah, I'm with him. I read all the same details as everyone else about, the panic that was created by this. And first of all, I don't think Bamboo is dumb enough to lock people in, because that's the surest way to lose a customer base. Especially in the 3D printer market, right? It's not mission critical for anyone to use your 3D printer. They can go buy anybody's and do the same thing. So I think a lot of it was overblown, honestly. Like, I don't think they're spying on me. And if they are, what are they going to find out? No, you throw a lot of things when you're upset. Great. I can tell you that anyway. Chris says, I leave my A1 connected. And they can have my files. Most are prototypes. Yeah. I did they even say what they were doing when you're connected? I did get a thing just recently to say that they were what the data that they were tracking, the personal data.
Well, they're kind of looking to see, like what you're making and stuff. So, all right, here's a prototype. It's a prototype. Yeah. It's a stone holder for a wet stone, and it's the wrong size, but it's a prototype thing I did on the X1C, and of course I'm offline. But if they would have seen this and they're going to steal it, or so what?
Yeah, what? Yeah. Joke's on them. It's not the right size.
Yeah, it don't work.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was doing something, critical for a customer who wanted to make sure that no one else had what they have, which happens. It happens a lot, actually. I would definitely not do that, but that doesn't happen, especially on the 3D printing side. No one says, oh, I want a 3D printed part and I want to be the only one who can ever have one. It just doesn't happen.
Ordinary woodworkers saying not normally, and LOL. Well, the reason is not normally is because I don't sweep the floor down here all the time. I don't like being barefooted. That's why it's naked, so. If somebody was spying and there was a camera pointing out, who'd want to see a 60-year-old guy naked anyway?
Well, you never know. There's some people have some fetishes. I don't think we have Jay Don't Play on tonight, but she's got a fetish.
Yeah, the P2S does have a U.S. price now. It's $799 with the AMS.
With the
Pro.
AMS.
With the AMS Pro, it's $799.
That's a good price.
Yeah.
Is it? So it's got like a 250 millimeter square bed. You said
it's the same as a P1, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, that's probably somewhere in there anyway. Less than 300.
But for what I make, I don't need a huge bed. Very rare I need a big bed. So if I do, I'll use my Cobra Max. So
yeah, where I've used the big bed is if I'm making a lot of any kind of part. I'll just make a whole bed full of them.
Okay, the bed is 256 by 256 by 256 max.
Okay. So that's
just look here. So,
with an AMS, that's a really good price.
Yeah. And whether or not they're shipping it is another question. But I saw the thing on, that was the other day, I've popped up and I looked at it and it was $7.99 with AMS.
Yeah. Not that I want to build a print farm, but I might consider one of those actually.
Well, the last Creality printer I've been using is going to get replaced. So
happy days for Roger.
Yeah.
You're going to have a 3D printer burning or anything?
Well, that one's going to go to my granddaughter. She wants to use it to make them little lizards and
the dragons.
Yeah. And it does that just fine. It's just sometimes it just that the leveling on it just drives me nuts all the time.
So I printed the black and white panda bear that Bamboo puts on their printers.
Yeah.
I printed that, and a buddy of mine, he has a granddaughter, and I said, "Oh, give it to your granddaughter. I think she's 5." And he sent me a picture a few days later and said, "Well, the panda was a big hit, and the panda has closed now." So now I may have to print a dragon. I don't know. It's like, really, do we need to print? Like, we can print our own environmental disaster in plastic. Yeah. Chris says, yep, you can buy anybody's 3D printer unless it's a Creality.
Yeah.
Glancing at Roger. Oh, I assume the Jays are winning tonight, Tim.
Oh, naked with Crocs.
There's the site. Ugh.
I didn't think about that. I've got Crocs on tonight, and just to show you,
hopefully
the Chicago Bears Crocs. Oh,
I noticed you didn't stand up to show them, which is maybe a good thing.
No, I do have pants on.
Oh, okay, that's comforting.
I got pants on tonight.
Ordinary Woodworker says, I wonder if they have a Black Friday sale for the P2S.
That's something I might be probably looking at. Because that's not that far off where they're going to have Black Friday sales.
Oh, here's your hero, Roger. Centenro says, I have 6 Creality printers. Oh, but he's not about to defend them.
I still have 3, and 2 of them are gathering dust. One of them is still more or less in use, but they're going to get retired.
Oh, here you go. We're on the attack tonight. Naked with Crocs must be talking about Clack. Clack wears his khaki shorts there all the time, but that's because he lives in like hot land.
Yeah.
I finally had to put my shorts away for the year. Just got a little too cool here now. But it was, I don't know, 70 degrees or something yesterday.
I was in shorts yesterday. It was 77 here yesterday. I was out in shorts. So, yeah.
And that's the end of our comments. So somebody ask a question. What's going on otherwise? What are you building this week other than candy boards?
I am doing a whole bunch of coaster holders and slate coasters. I got to make 40 coaster holders and 40 sets of slate coasters. So I will be, and there's 4 coasters to a holder, so I will be busy.
When I was talking to Jim Hamilton the other day, he said he built I don't know, some ridiculous number of coasters, like hundreds. I think it was 1,500. That's my nightmare right there.
Oh,
You guys who make coasters.
the sublimation coasters I do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them that they give away in the bars.
How long does
They're
it take
so
to print one?
I print, there's 6 to a sheet, and I could put 21 on the heat press at once. It takes no time at all. I mean,
Huh.
I just fly through them.
Yeah, I only make coasters when I have to, which is not often.
So Clack saying he wears pants, Carhartt shorts, Crocs, and a t-shirt.
Yeah. I can't get into Crocs. I just can't do it.
No, I wear them around the house a lot. I don't wear them outside, but I wear them around the house a lot.
Don't they hurt your feet?
No, not a bit.
Like I don't know. Do you wear socks with them? You one of those guys who wears shorts with socks and sandals?
No, that's not. Not unless they're black knee-high socks and
okay.
white sandals and no. Yeah, shorts are part of the woodworker's uniform.
Yeah, but depends where you are and when it is.
Yeah.
You won't be wearing shorts here in January.
So what do I make for my coaster holders? I do slate coasters.
I don't know if that was a question of how much you charge or what do you put in them.
Oh, there's 4 slate coasters in a holder, and they sell for 20.
Is the hole that you just 3D or just laser cut something to make?
Yeah, it's a laser cut out of 1/8" plywood. I pre-stained the plywood, and it's 2.7 millimeter plywood. I've got it set so that the slots fit real tight. Then I just go around the bottom with hot glue. I mean, they are fast. I mean, I just crank them out. Yeah, Carhartt shorts. Yeah, they have a hammer loop.
Chris says he's building out his garage workspace. He still hasn't decided how to vent his lasers, roof or wall.
I will say wall because it's easier to work on.
Yeah, you don't have to climb a ladder to punch a hole through your wall and run pipe there. I have on 2 walls. Actually on one wall I have 2 vents, and on the second wall I have 1 vent. Soon to be 2, I think, though. David says I get artwork from Creative Fabrica. Is that a reasonable thing to do?
It is risky getting it from them.
If you want to sell it, yeah, I wouldn't use them.
Yeah, they have been sued, and they're in deep doo-doo.
More importantly, the people who use their stuff have been sued.
Yeah. No, it's going to be 86 there tomorrow. Now, if you want to use some designs, getting back to that, Creative Fabrica, an alternative is design bundles. And I'm not sponsored by them, but we use the hell out of their stuff. Designbundles.net. And I have a subscription to it, and I pay every month, and I get credits. And they also have a pretty decent AI engine if you want to create some AI stuff. It's pretty decent.
86 in Clanton, Alabama. That's not civil for October. That's too hot.
Yeah, proper retirement attire. Well, I've got my retirement attire on, so.
The wild shirt.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be retired, but it seems like I have a job. Santa says, so as someone who is still looking for 3D printers, other than the bed leveling Roger mentioned, what is the Creality big problem? I really think I will get a Bamboo, but I'm just wondering.
Support.
Yeah.
That is the number one fall down with Creality is their support.
Yeah, like Creality's printers are fine. Like they work generally every time you turn them on. They're not having both Bamboo and Creality. The Bamboo is definitely, there's a lot more attention to detail on the Bamboo as far as how you use the thing without it being a problem. But I don't have any major problem with the Creality. Other than when I needed support, it was just a total pain.
Yeah, when I needed support with them, and it was on a brand new printer too. It was just it went on for months, and no replies, and I mean it ended up actually getting nasty. And then I had to take the motherboard out of the printer and send it back to Creality. You know, they did send a label for it, but then they didn't accept it. I ended up getting it back like 2 months later. So yeah, it was my thing with Creality is just no. Their support's horrible.
Yeah.
If you need help, go to the Facebook group.
The one thing I like about Bamboo is if you go to their website, their store, you can find all the parts there. You don't have to involve a support guy. You can just buy them.
Every part you would need for a Bamboo printer is on their website. And they're not overcharging for them either. They're all reasonable.
And you know, versus Creality, when I had to deal with support with Creality, it was like the guy you were talking to was standing in your way of getting a part. Right? It's just like, just point me to a place where I can see the parts and I'll buy the thing I know I need. I don't need you asking me if my printer's plugged in, right?
Or send us a video of it not working. That was their big thing.
Yes. Well, yeah, you get that all the time.
Yeah.
Can you send us a video? Yeah, here it is. My printer is off. You want 5 minutes of it?
So the problem with Crocs is catching and skinning them. Well, actually, Crocs are pretty tasty if they're fried up right.
I'll pass.
I'm talking about the animal.
I realize, and I'll still pass.
Oh, yes, it is a wooden holder. It's made out of 2.7 millimeter plywood. I'll put one up I'll bring one down here for the live stream next week so you can see what they look like. I don't have any left here. We're clear out of them. I got to make a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, wall wise is easier to weatherproof. Yeah, that's true. You don't have to worry about a roof leak.
Does it ever rain in Australia, Chris? Like you have to worry about the weatherproofing? I thought it was mostly desert. I guess around the coast it's not, but Jim says, yeah, up to 2,500 coasters he made in the past month. That's a lot. And their paper. He used his CO2 Galvo, did 900 last night. Wow. 5 seconds each. Yeah, but that's the beauty of Galvo lasers, right? You can do things really quickly. Oh, now you guys are in an ugly area here. It's like you're talking about eating crocodiles.
Croc jerky or alligator jerky here in the U.S. Yeah, it is pretty good.
I'm sure it tastes like chicken, but
Here we go. Croc hunting in Aussie land. There we go.
Yeah, when Tim goes to Australia, he's asking if he can go croc hunting.
I know for a fact you can go rabbit hunting in Aussie.
Yeah.
You have a real problem with those down there.
Thank you, Great Britain. Yeah, once we had rain. I think it was 1982. Well, we've been in a severe drought here actually for most of this year actually.
I will agree with Centuro here. He says Bamboo puts more effort into the whole user experience than other brands. And I think they do.
Yeah, I watched a talk from one of the guys who works at Bamboo, and he was trying to explain the difference between Bamboo and other 3D printer companies. And it just basically boiled down to, um, Bamboo sells an experience. They don't sell a printer. And like and it shows, right? Whenever you turn the thing on, it's not like, oh, I got to use this 3D printer again. It's like you turn it on and you go over to some piece of software and push the run button, and that's it. You kind of walk away.
A lot of people complain too about Bamboo when they first came out with them not being open source. Well, I can't go into Marlin and like write my own software for it. Well, they just work. I mean, it already works. Don't if
Yeah.
it ain't fixed, don't break it.
And this is the transition phase that the diode laser market is in right now, right? Like all the early people who got into diode lasers were just like total hardware hackers, right? Oh, and I can go in there and I can mess around with stuff. You can or could, but who the hell wants to do that as a like to use it as an actual shop tool? Anyway, we're at time, but let me get through the last couple here. Tim and Chris can talk about their croc hunting on their own time. Here in Alabama, you can gator hunt with a tag. It does taste.
It does taste like
it does taste
yes,
like
it does.
chicken.
I've had it before many times.
I'm still not going to eat it. God must have run out of flavors. That's why so many things taste like chicken. Yeah. I might as well just eat chicken then in that case.
Yeah, Tim saying Bamboo equals Exial for support. I've had excellent support from both.
And we'll close down with the final one. JM. I don't know who JM is. Oh, JM Creative Studio. That's where all my rain goes. Yeah. And Santa, you get to be the last one. Do you have any feelings about the Snapmaker U1 and where it will land in the packing order? Seems like a solid printer to me, but they do have Snapmaker's name is a bit of a boat anchor because of their history with their own weird thing. I forget what they called it. Luca. They couldn't use something normal like Orca Slicer.
No, I never wanted to mess with Snapmaker because of their proprietary slicing software and everything.
Yeah, and it's called Luba or something. And like it works, but it's like, why? Let's use a normal slicer, right? This is the discussion I'm in with FileSeeker right now, or FiberSeeker right now on their 3D printer because they have their own slicer. It's like my first question: can you support Orca Slicer at some point in the future? It's not that their slicer is terrible; it's just that it's not Orca Slicer, right? Or it's pick your well understood slicer. So it just it works. It's easy to use, but it's just you get programmed right into using one tool. Anyway, yeah, I think the U1 is going to do okay in the long run. We'll see. Like the 3D printer market's pretty full, and then Bamboo came along and said, well, we'll just take all of that for ourselves. So I don't know. All right. Anything you want to close with, Roger?
Yeah, well, see y'all next week, and I'll have one of them coaster holders down here to show you what they look like. Probably with a set of coasters in it, you can see what those look like.
Yep. And thanks for coming out, and we'll try to have our comedic relief with us next week again when Rick is back.
Yeah.
Instead of being all stern and serious and talking about eating crocodiles.
Yeah.
For that, we'll sign off, and hopefully we see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.